Okay, so we are getting started with Entrepreneur Crush today, talking to Coach D. Duvet Weaver from St. Petersburg, Florida. I am so excited, and I've already interviewed a couple people, but I told him I want him to be the very first podcast, so we are just getting started with Entrepreneur Crush. Coach D and I met online, and he was local, so I decided I was going to come to one of his events, and I was just blown away with his energy and his just love of entrepreneurship. And we'll talk about this in a little bit, but I will always remember it was a small event. He said, we're going to go around, everybody's going to talk about what you do, and everybody listen up because there are probably ways we can help each other out. So there's plenty of business to go around, and we're all in this together. And that to me just blew my mind. When a lot of times people get into that scarcity mindset of, we're all fighting for the same customers, or, stay out of my business. This is what I do. And he was very like, okay, no matter what you do, let's see how we can work together. So, Coach D.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Rachel.
So when I think of entrepreneurship, you're one of the first people who pops into my mind. So can you tell me a little bit how you became an entrepreneur?
Yeah, absolutely. When I got started, it was actually in network marketing. So it's a crazy story where I had no desire to be an entrepreneur, to be honest. This was probably around like maybe 12 years ago, because this was even before our son. And somebody came and brought this opportunity to me called YTB. So it stands for Your Travel Business. And I still probably after being in the company like a year and a half, I still didn't know what I was doing. But what it was just an opportunity for you to have your own business, and then people could book travel through you. So that was kind of like my introduction into entrepreneurship. And eventually I started to like it after I got more word of like what it was. But once I got into YTB, I was also introduced into motivational speakers. And one of the biggest ones that was introduced to me was Jim Rohn, Les Brown, and then eventually Dr. Eric Thomas. And so they actually got me started on this journey of like motivation speaking. And it's so funny when we talk, Rachel, like if you had met me those 12 years ago, I was not the guy speaking in front of the room. That's not something I felt comfortable with. I felt good when I knew somebody, but I was never one that could just go in the room and command the room. That's actually something I learned and developed from network marketing, because after doing YTB, we did something called 5 links. And with 5 links, I would have to go in front of the rooms. So that's one of the things when you wanted to become a leader, they would put you in front of the room and then you had to do the presentation. And then I started to get really good. But then people were like, well, you don't just do that. Well, you could do motivation. And then I started considering that, right? And then that, fast forward, it became me writing my first book. So it was Chasing Your Dreams, Bound for Success. And once I wrote that book, that literally unlocked all these different doors that I'm going through, because once you become a published author, like people want to know, okay, how did you do that? And you literally turn it into a business. There's a lot of authors out there that don't really treat their book like a business. It's really just a big business card that you have that you can promote yourself. But that's pretty much how I got started in entrepreneurship. It was really network marketing got me into it, knowing what it was. And then people, as I started to develop in it, people started to sit me down and say, hey, this is what entrepreneurship is. You can do this too. And then when I tell you I got like 10 business ideas right now in my head, it's not an understatement.
Okay. And then not too long ago, really, in the grand scheme of things, you really got the opportunity to really dive into entrepreneurship and into your own business.
Yes. So you can say fortunately or unfortunately, I was laid off my corporate job that I had been there over 5 years. And I was able to do what I feel I was called to do for the first time in my life. And just to be clear, the reason I feel like I'm having all this success is because I have the support of my wife. actually after getting that phone call, which is one of the scariest phone calls to get, especially because it was COVID. And so no one's pulling you into a room. They're literally giving you a phone call saying, hey, we no longer need your services, right? So it was amazing to have a wife that came into the bedroom and it was almost like, bump that job. Now you need to go and do what God has called you to do. And that is to help people get businesses set up. That's to help with marketing. And then that's how basically I felt comfortable being able to do this, because I had her support. And so once I got that support, I was just like, I'm going all in. I'm just going to make sure I have everything I need to have a successful business. And I started taking the necessary steps to build a team. I think what happens to a lot of entrepreneurs, I want anybody listening to this, because it's the entrepreneurship crush or entrepreneur's crush, right? When we're entrepreneurs, especially in the beginning, we try to do everything. And all that's going to do is create burnout, because you're literally going to get to a point to where it's like you don't know what to do next because you're doing everything. So I knew, based off the courses that I took, that I needed to focus on building a foundation and a team. So after being laid off, I didn't really focus on selling the product, service, anything. I just bunkered down, got an office, or I already had an office downtown St. Pete. And I literally just said, okay, what are some things that I could do to help people in business, right? But then how can I build a team around me that allow me to do that? And so now we're up to, I think it's like 35 individuals that are helping us. We got a team in the Philippines. We got people in Serbia, India. So all that came from me understanding that even though I want to be an entrepreneur, it can't just be all about me. It's about building a team.
That's incredible. I'm just always so impressed by just like hitting the ground running. And you talked about like, you had something kind of going on in the background and you were able to pick up and really make that something special. So can you I know this is a 15-hour conversation about everything that you're doing right now, yeah. But can you explain a little bit about kind of these different businesses that you have running and that kind of all fit together?
Yeah, so everything I create has to be centered around like dreaming, even at some point of somebody's life, right? So I thought to myself, man, what could I create that can touch the kids? So we created a nonprofit called Dreams to Reality Foundation, where we're going to go into the middle schools and high schools and teach the kids about entrepreneurship. Reason being, for someone like myself, I didn't really learn about entrepreneurship till I was like 28 years old, around that age, where somebody literally sat me down and said, hey, you can have a business as well. You can be an entrepreneur as well. For me, that was foreign, right? Especially as a kid. And so that's one of the things we're working on now. And our unique approach will be, we don't want to bring in the big guru, speaker, or entrepreneur. We want to talk to the business owners that are in the community, because what happens when those kids see that a business owner that's local to them is actually doing well for themselves and actually can help other people, that can employ other people. Well, that's going to change that kid's perspective of what they want to do. A lot of kids want to be things that they see on TV simply because it feels like it's so foreign, like, oh man, I got to shoot for that. Well, if they knew there were leaders in their community that are doing amazing things, that might change a little bit, right? So then we have Closer to Our Dreams. I'm super excited about that because I actually get to build that with my cousin who's out in California, and he's building that side of the business. But with that, we focus on helping businesses with their business development and marketing strategies. We have a monthly membership that keeps me up called the Dreamers Corner membership, where we literally help people every single month and give them a new marketing strategy that they can implement in their business. Now, this is key because a lot of people that train on these type of topics, they charge thousands and thousands of dollars to even learn this information. And as a business owner, I wanted to be somebody that was conscious of what was going on in the world. And we make it super affordable, right? And that's just like our heart at Closer to Our Dreams. We want to make sure that you guys can afford to do the training, because if you have the training, then you can advance your business, right? And then the last entity I created was Reality Media LLC. So that's a full service media production company where we basically provide video and photography. And I got videographers and photographers from Fort Myers to Jacksonville. And we're actually working on 3 documentaries this year, which I'm super excited about. And then the last organization I'm partnered with is Tampa Bay Business Network. So I am the St. Pete chapter owner for that organization. And with that, we just focus on bringing local businesses together so that we can uplift each other. And like I said at the launch, it's not about competition. It's like, how can we collaborate? You do something extremely well that I don't do. So let's figure out how we can work together.
Okay, so we're going to wrap up, but I want to ask you, so I'm a brand new entrepreneur, but that's the audience of this. Mm-hmm. Do you have 2 pieces of advice that you could give me about getting into entrepreneurship?
Yes. So again, I have to stress this enough that it's about team, like knowing basically that you cannot do it all by yourself. That's why I'm gonna give you 3. Okay. So you want to build, make sure everything you're building is around a team. Who can you strategically place to help you, right? So that's 1, getting the team. Being super clear on the mission, right? The reason why I think we're getting all this traction is because our mission is very clear. We want to help people achieve their goals and dreams, whether that be becoming an entrepreneur, becoming a lawyer, doctor, dentist, whatever. And then we just focus on getting around those people that can help, right? And then the last thing is making sure you figure out how to strategically partner with people that are aligned with your mission. Because that makes building the business, 1, it makes it more fun because now you have more people pretty much saying the same thing or on the same synergy as you. And then 2, it allows you to create opportunities that you may not have even been thinking about a certain product, but your strategic partnership was like, hey, have you ever thought about doing this? I'll give you a perfect example. And then I know you say you got to go. My accounting firm, right? This is how crazy it is. The managing partner of this accounting firm flew down to Florida because he wanted to meet me in person. So we had a whole almost 2-hour conversation. He gave me different ways for me to market the business, right, that I hadn't even thought about. So that's what happens when you have a strategic partnership. He's saying, hey, these are some things I'm dealing with because the accounting firm deals solely with entrepreneurs and nonprofits. So he was like, hey, have you ever thought about doing this? Listen, there's a whole market for this. Did you ever think about corporations? Corporations are struggling with innovation. They need fresh people to come in and revitalize and give new ideas. He's like, did you ever think about creating a package just for them? And that's something that wasn't even on my mind. I was just like, even though I got all these things going on, that wasn't even on my mind. But that strategic partnership brought that out. And so that's why if you just focus on that team, right, being super clear on the mission and figure out how to strategically partner with people that are aligned with your mission, your values, I mean, you're going to skyrocket. That's the only reason I know for sure these past 9 months has been so amazing is because I'm super clear on all 3 of those.
I love it. That's perfect. So you and I are going to work on a project coming up, so don't hang out. But thank you so much for your time. This is great. I've had 4 conversations so far. Like I said, here come first, but every single time I jump off, I'm like, wow, I have so many things to think about. So this was really helpful, and looking forward to seeing what else you have to bring.
Yes, no problem. Thank you so much for having me, Rachel.
All right.